things are this time, Let's see if we have those audio issues that we always have. So, welcome to the Friday live stream of me, Luke. Just decided I would just have a good evening, Mr. Sorepaws. How's the audio? Oh, good. Good, very good. Well, okay. So, we have Friday here, and we'll just have a random live stream that doesn't really have any topics, but it can be any topic that we like. It's tribe talk. Yes. Same as always, as you would imagine, pause in the first 30 seconds. Hello, G. Hello, Raventor. Good to see you all. My friends, we are live, and it's Friday, and how about we call this Freya Talk? Because it's Friday. Hello, Harish. Good to see you. Hi, Sunny Days. Good to see you. We're all just joining in and having a little tribe talk on Friday. Your friend is over here. We'll talk about anything anyone wants to speak of. Hi. And so, yeah, no topic, but we'll make a topic. So how's everyone's Friday doing? We'll just, oh, I forgot something. Let's see here. This makes it a little bit easier to, do things with. Just to stop it from getting flooded, you know. Seems only subscribers are here right now, but we'll start with that in case it gets more. Alright. Yep, bearing us. She's over there sleeping. Well, she was. But she'll be back to sleeping in a moment. She's always so bored in this winter. Yes, it'll be cooling off soon here. Got a cold front coming in. Something like gonna be down to minus 20 Fahrenheit in the in the nighttime. So that's gonna be cold. And let's see. After I'm done with this stream here, I'll go and do another live reading. Harish, no, I haven't visited India yet. I will though eventually. I plan to go around the world. Yes. Good topic, travel. What's the most exotic places in the world, or, well, what's the furthest you've been, from where you are, in the world to all the chats? Where have you traveled? Raventor. Om Namah Shivaya. Yes, that's right, you told me about that one. That's the prayer. Or something. And, yeah, it's just nippy paws. It will, we just have to insulate everywhere better, but we do have the wood stove now, so good to sit around. Barcelona, Spain. Yes, eventually we'll be, near there, I think. Portugal's a good place that we would want to visit sometime. It's, so that's close to Spain. Oman. Wow, that's, Muscat, Oman. I don't even know where that is, Sunny Days. It's, I've heard the name before, but, wow. I can't place it on a map. And Sicilia is the furthest you've ever been, Raventor. That's pretty neat. That's a neat place to go. I've heard of it. Oh, the Persian Gulf. You were deployed. Oh, that makes sense. That does make sense. It's yeah, maybe not a place for tourists, perhaps. Yeah, I remember my brother was in Iraq. I'm not sure the exact places, but I remember getting calls from him when he was there. Oh yeah, you've flown over it in DCS, Mr. Sorpaz. Yes, you've flown many jets in that game. Hmm. Speaking of, here we have some entertainment. Right. We've also got our Gary as our funny little mascot. Oh dear, what else? Yes, quite a game. Okay. See you soon, Raventor. Bring Johnny back to the dragon. I might still be here by the time you get back. Not else, we'll still talk. Yeah. So, Friday talk. Had more topics in my head. And then suddenly, they're all gone. Funny how that happens. As soon as you start to do things. Oh. German premiere. Neat. And as soon as you think of things, and when you're ready to do them, suddenly they're all gone. Wow, Dino has just made a comment on one of my latest videos, and so that reminds me we could speak about any topic, attachments. In fact, it could be a Q&A. Go ahead, ask anything if you want to drive the conversation. All we're doing is having a hangout. Go ahead, talk in the chat, things like that. Because, wow, I'll certainly have more to say later on when I do my live book reading. I'll be reading an old book called The American. And I'll do that out in the project. There's something that can be talked about. The project, it's a project in the house, it's going well. We've got the drywall almost up and everything is in order. And I just remembered something I was going to say. Welcome, everyone, and either we shall have an interesting conversation or we will be bored. I don't know which one that's happening. Oh yes, Raventor is going to be having a premiere of his videos on his latest video, so in 30 minutes. So we shall go and watch that when it's out. He's got some. Raventor does very good videos in German, and he speaks very at the heart of truth when it comes to dealing with toxic people. you do have to watch it in the subtitles, but they translate very well. Uh, um, Dealing with toxic people. Yes, you need to brush up on German. I mean, I've learned a little, but not enough. Not nearly enough. But yeah, things that Rav talks about. Oh, hi, Yo. Yes, welcome to the virtual hall. Good to know it's not boring. And that is a very good question that can get us speaking. What is everyone planning for the year to come? Any adventures? That question can go to everyone. Yes. Well, I'd imagine for any of us who don't speak German, trying to understand German would be difficult. I just used the subtitles. But anyone planning any adventures? Or, things planning for the year to come? What is it that I'm doing? Well, we're kind of letting and seeing what happens, but what we want is to finish this project. And then that's thinking in the collective. It is a little bit of a different thing to think for just your own ambitions. As you see, the channel is called Luke and Mum. So my mind has always been thinking in the family, sort of like a collective thought process. And so I am starting to think of what I would like for myself. And I think I'm going to do the best I can for myself this year. Exactly, Jake. We are the Borg, and you will be assimilated. You wrote a bachelor's paper once. Ah, wooden houses. Yes, I don't see many of those in Europe, except I see more in Norway of wooden houses, that's for sure. Ah, and you're heading the road. Hoping to go east, south, and northwest, and I hope to see you in one of those trips. That's for sure. What I'll be doing is, well, we do hope to go to Europe again this year, at some point. As for myself, I will do whatever I can to improve upon myself. Perhaps get involved with some kind of. I would really like to get involved with some kind of activity or sport or doing something, and then, of course, making more money for the year. So, all very basic things. And resistance is futile. Why don't I know? I should go up to Glacier Park for a trip. It's pretty close by. Oh, yes, that's a good point. We actually did go up to, hi, Nayland. Good to hear from you. Antalya, Turkey. That is far away, but it sounds so very nice weathered and warm. In sync, Jake. Yeah. I've seen the mountains of Glacier Park, but I've never been in it. One time, we were driving, with Dad as we were hauling a load on the semi-truck, because that's what we did for a time, not long ago, really. And, there was, well, we took a wrong turn and went up the mountain, And here it's not even supposed to go up, and I'm like, we need to turn back and head back to Browning. Um, uh, yeah, we need to turn back and go back to Browning. But he was like, I know that we have to head that way. Be careful, Mr. Swordpaws, I'll start singing. And then we'll all be doomed. But he said, we need to go that way. And I said, but we need to head back. Well, okay. Well, I don't see a sign saying that well, there's a sign up there. Okay, I'll go up to that sign. And we go up to the sign, and by then it's too late to turn around. So we have to head up the mountain that the semi-truck probably isn't even allowed up. But we head up and down the mountain in order to get to the entrance of Glacier Park. And then he wants to go through Glacier Park, but unfortunately, semi-trucks aren't allowed into Glacier Park. Would have worked. I mean, we could have went through it, that's for sure. But we had to go back up and down the mountain, so that is as close as I've been to Glacier Park. I've seen the outside of it, and it looks incredible. Ooh, you'll be exploring the deserts and the Wind River Mountains. Wow, Dino. I know those mountains. I don't think I've ever been up to the base, but I've seen them many times. And it would be incredibly nice to go and see them up close eventually. They look like such a small range on the map, but they are a very nice stretch of mountains. Are you still biking, Mr. Sorepaws? And yes, you are. You ride your bike to and from work every day. So, good hangout going on here. And you walk. Almost every day, yes. And Jake, you walk like a flash. When it comes to, yeah, I can't, I've walked most of the time. I don't really know to drive, but I've ridden a bike before. But to go to any form of work at the moment, it's just going out to that project. It's, in the middle of this winter, things are very, what would you call it? Low energy right now. Still doing the exercise, things like that, but once spring comes along, I'll start to get searching for some kind of opportunity for things. Isn't that... There's, lots of chances for opportunity, but sometimes they are difficult to find unless you know where to look. Oh. Yes, Mr. Surpaz, you're on that bicycle seat a lot, but at least you get good, places to stop and have breakfast and lunch on them. Yes, thank you, Wow Dino. That is nice to say. It is very fun to do, and you get a lot of content out of just one playthrough. But I very much enjoy playing a game with my friends, there, Jake here, and, Mr. Sorepaws. Yeah, almost got everybody. Lex is not here today, but, yeah. It's fun playing those games. It's an interesting way to communicate and hang out with people. Especially nowadays. Mm. Oh, Nayland, last week you went swimming in the Mediterranean, and the seawater temperature was 18 Celsius, but today it's snowing up the mountains. It's too cold to swim. Wow, that's impressive, and it must be lovely indeed. Uh, though, I bet Canadians would still swim. Because they probably never get any. They probably never. You probably never get warmer than what your coldest days are for that water. That is incredible. Incredible that the water gets so warm there. Mum's told me about the Mediterranean, but yeah, very nice. And yes, Rodano, take the plunge on opportunity. You can always change your mind and direction. You just don't know how things in life will work out. That's most true. Absolutely. It's just finding the opportunity is the whole thing, unless you, I don't know, when trying to make it fit in with the schedule that you've already got going on. Yes, it would be summer for Canadians, probably. As mum has told me. Oh, and coldest water you've ever spent it was 6 or 7. Yeah, any amount of time in, that's the key. I mean, I didn't spend as much time in that river there, but I don't know what it was. Probably it had to be at least freezing or a little below since it was running. So 0 or -1, who knows? And yeah, the Great Sea indeed. uh, ooh, 1.5 hours. That's a long bike ride. Yes. Yes. Playing a game and doing things. It's a good way to hang out nowadays. But I found, oh, it really can make you feel like you're in person though. Um, oh, oh, you spent 1.5 hours in that water. That's a lot. That's that's cold. But I suppose you declimatize. What was I saying? Yeah, the games feel like you're in person, but it's it's still really nice to be in person with friends, and that's what I think I'll make a video soon about is communication and how people have gotten quite accustomed to not even speaking with their mouth anymore, just with their thumb speak. I mean, that's why I'm doing these lives a lot, actually. I find it nice practice for speaking with the thing that was given to us, which is our mouth. And yeah, the river was cold. The air was sub-zero, that is quite right. And, well, thank you. Well, it was, my mindset was just do it. And, just do it. It was, oh yeah, and you were in a semi-dry diving suit. It was that, it's about what Dad used, I believe, when he was diving, Mr. Sorepaws. Yeah, you just go out and do it. I mean, I knew that the river wasn't going to be, well, deadly if I didn't go out that long. Once I seen the bottom of it, I was more assured because it didn't look like there was, um, spikes on the bottom or anything. And it definitely wasn't going to sweep me away. I know I can always get out of things, so... Of course, when you jump in and you start feeling yourself slow down internally, that's when you kind of want to get out. I think if I did it again, it would be easier, probably, but it's always doing it the first time. And yes, it is the night mindset, Jake. Always doing things the first time are the worst. Once you do it second time, it becomes easier. And yes, we can use charades, Jake, to speak it. Hey, that's what everybody started doing with emojis, really. And yeah, the Wim Hof breathing exercises help. I was looking that up, actually, before I went in. It's fascinating, really. I was tempted to do it again yesterday. I just didn't bring a towel or the right outfit to do so. Anyway, it was very cold, that's for sure. Once you do things that bring you suffering, once you suffer once and you learn from it, then you can't ever suffer from it again. If you suffer from something over and over, it just means you need to learn from that experience. And then it becomes easier afterwards. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of reading and watching of things, coming up with more things to spark my mind. Yeah, Baron, yes. Yeah, anyway. Finally. Finally, Raventor. We have, Raventor is added to Ravencall. Yes. Yes, it's a good Discord. Papa. My, how the tribe has come so far. Good, Jake. Well, I'll be finished with this live stream in a few minutes anyway. And then I'll exercise. Then once Mum and Dad leave to Butte, I shall make my live reading. And you're quite right, Nayland Bilgic. There's no happiness without suffering. And suffering reminds us we're alive, and it gets easier. Old things no longer cause suffering if you adapt, but we find new ways to suffer. And yes, there's I heard recently that when it comes to having a purpose in life, going back to that, you do not need to find a purpose, though you can. You can have a purpose. You can always find a purpose immediately, just to be one of your purposes, and that is to find a way to end the suffering in life. Which will keep you busy, that's for sure. Because each time you suffer, it'll turn into something less. Find something else to suffer from. Well, maybe not intentionally, but you will, whether you try or not. And yes, suffering leads to what? Jake? Fear. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. It's always been correct. I also need to make a video about the two sides of consciousness. Fear, of course I did do that, but perhaps a more in-depth one, because there is only two sides to people, fear and love, or fear and peace, but I believe it's probably fear and love, because peace is in the middle. And it does change a person, you're quite right, Wild Dino. It's necessary for growth. Without suffering, I don't know. Without suffering, I don't know if somebody can go through life without suffering. Maybe not for very long if you're enlightened or something. And yes, it usually does remind you of movies. I'm often reminded of songs more often. I think. Say anything, it'll remind me of a song, probably. Except for spiritual things. I mean, there's not too many songs on that. Except for letting go. There's a few songs about not being able to do that. Quite a few songs. Oh dear. Attachments are hard to let go, that's for sure. But letting go doesn't mean you're going to lose what you have, and that's what I was trying to say in that video, and what I've always been trying to say. Yeah. Suffering. So much suffering in the world, and yet all is peaceful. I know that song, Jake, a little. Never really heard it much because I refuse to. Yeah. Yeah. End the suffering. That's all there is to it. But in order to end it, you have to experience it. So you have to suffer in order to end the suffering. But we go up and we go down. And when we experience a great up, it'll eventually fall back down. But then we'll feel a great up again. So eventually we just start to feel peace. We get into that middle state. Hi, Rav. Back again. Just talking about suffering, stuff, things. Well, yeah, we go up and we go down. We always go up and down. What we need to go to is, we need to get to that plane of stillness. Like the water in a mountain lake that does not move, where you can see yourself in it. The moment it starts to move, you can no longer see yourself. Waves, crests, and troughs. Quite right, G. But then, on another side of it, you have to stay low. Yep, and be still like water. You have to stay low, because like the ocean stays low, and everything runs into it. And then what happens when the ocean rises up? It destroys everything in its path. So through being low, it gets all the power, and then only uses its strength. Well, when something hits it, I guess, from underneath, when it feels a rocking and creates a tsunami and smashes everything in sight, be water. Water can flow and it can crash. And yes, we are drops and always part of the ocean. Yeah, quite right, Raventor. There's many different sides to all the analogies. And waves of the sea dissolve in the sea. Quite right. It's all on the surface there's waves. Yes, Jake. Yeah, sea dogs. Yeah, we're all sea dogs. That's what we are. Oh, another analogy. On the surface, it's waving and all waves, but always underneath there is stillness. Slight current here and there, but once you get under the waves, all becomes still. Then once you go deeper, you get more pressure and more pressure until it crushes you from the extreme darkness, and you get into a place of darkness where all is crushing around you. Oh, getting too deep. I'm getting too deep! Yup. Even still water is in constant motion, unless it's a stagnant pool. Yes, quite right. If we become still, and too stagnant, without that flow, we become a festering pool of toxic stuff, and we get all these parasites on us. And be still and know that I am God. This is what the Christians would say, and yeah, that's true. It's true. I always try to see what they mean with those things, and it can be gone to that thought Rav when pagans are more into be still and feel the oneness with nature, and indeed with their feeling of basically the force, as I would call it more often than not, or just the general energy field and the nature and everything else. We can just feel it all around us, for it is within us, it's outside of us, it's everywhere. So if we just stay still and we are in harmony, everything will be in harmonious. Yes, and everything. And bye Wild Dino. See you soon. You have to go and make lunch. Wow, wild rice soup. Till next time. And yes, watch the top knot. Bye Wild Dino. Thanks for joining. And yep, everything is the same. Later while. And yeah, what was I saying? Yes. At the end, everything is the same. You feel everything around you. You're all part of it. Get to that level of stillness, and if you're stagnant, you become a toxic thing with a bunch of parasites sticking to you, which is often sometimes the cause of the stagnation. But so we have to remain in flow whilst being still. That's basically it. Like a river, kinda, or still water, with a stream, full of analogies. So with that, we shall go this time, and I shall prepare myself, and we'll go and see Raventor's premiere in German. With that, I'll wish everyone goodbye, and see you soon. It's been a good hangout, good stretch of the vocal cords. Go out and use them today, somehow. Nice to see you all, Raventor, G, Wow Dino, Sunny Days. Naylan, Mr. Surpaz, and yeah. And all you others, and Harris, and yeah, everyone here. So, Raventor is premiering, so bye-bye and see you soon.